This time Japan can be considered. Quietly did us a huge favor. Let us suffer. The problem that has been plaguing us for 30 years, finally solved. So what's the problem? It's been a headache for us for decades. Speaking of which, we have to mention our country. It started relatively late in the aviation industry. In particular, the engine has always needed to be strengthened. Attempting to expand resources in Japan, but accidentally revealed his strategic layout. Accidentally help us. Made a big deal. This time Japan's unintentional willow cutting. How much did it benefit us? Enough gossip. Let's cut to the chase. Aviation manufacturing is essential for many developed countries. That's the bottom line of national security. It is also a symbol of the country's industrial, technological progress. Not to mention that aviation also drives the national economy. Machinery manufacturing, the development of many fields such as chemical industry. For example, the vegetable buns and the instant noodles we eat every day. That's using refrigeration in the airline industry. Made by dehydration technology, processing technology of air cushion. It is also derived from the production process of spacesuits and helmets. This shows that the significance of the aviation industry to the country. That's not covered. It involves the most difficult issues in aviation. It's the engine. Useless question. This is also the weakness of our aviation industry. Because the engine is the heartbeat of the plane, mainly responsible for converting fuel energy into power. Let the plane fly in the sky. Well known. Our aerospace business is a latecomer, so it's a hard nut to crack. The best turbofan engine in the world. American F-135 and F-119 plus Russian L-41. That's the heart of all kinds of advanced fighter jets. The thrust can easily reach the super level of 19 tons. It's incredibly energy efficient. The technology for making aero engine blades. Very high content. Put those little parts together. The process is even more complicated. The blades have to withstand temperatures of thousands of degrees. It has to be guaranteed to run stably for several hours. Let's talk about raw materials. That's a bigger problem. We don't have the sophisticated industry to do that. The countries in the world that independently manufacture engines. That's just a few. Except for the United States and Russia. There are also two brothers, English and French. It can be said to have a monopoly on aero engine technology. Although our current aviation industry research and development is really awesome. It's the second largest space power in the world. But that engine technology, to be honest, there is still a big gap with others. Let's open our minds and come up with an idea. Japan got some advanced engines. Study hard. When you said delving in submarines, all in a days. A drawing, a toy model. Our researchers, it's hard to make a Long March 1 launch. It shows that our self-learning ability is quite amazing. But it wasn't long before we were complacent. The engine I bought. We can't replicate it. It turns out that the Japanese were making it. It uses a metal casing. That's tough. Our researchers can only stare. Apparently the Japanese had it in mind when they built it. All it does is make it impossible for counterfeiters to start. So now even if we have this engine, it's very difficult to do it yourself. Although we also made piston engines ourselves. Turbo shaft engines. But some core components still can't escape the fate of importing. We are in 2014 to break the turbofan engine. But we are with Russia on this technology. That's a 30-year gap. This turbofan engine has been developed technically earlier than the United States. The CFF56 engine is about the same. Now this is incredibly difficult, but our researchers always insist on Aoyama not relaxing, continuously seeking a solution. Just as we were working hard, Japan unexpectedly opened a door for us. Everyone knows that Japan is an island country. Isthmus, ugly. Resource scarcity. You can only show your teeth and claws to the outside world. Look at China. Land and materials expo. Rare earth resources dominate. We account for 1/3 of the world. This is equal to our hands, holding the life infra of many countries. Due to its proximity to Japan, they tried to do something to us. It has brought us a lot of trouble and pain. We have not forgotten these historical pain points until now. But I have to admit, people pay more attention to technology and education. So, Japan's industrial technology development is still quite recent, especially during the Second Industrial Revolution. They developed technology aggressively. It laid a solid foundation for future industrial progress. Because we in China have been invaded, the pace of development is greatly hindered. We missed the technological revolution. Although Japan was defeated, it suffered a lot. There is strong support behind it. The economy is hyped up. Some of their technological developments, even leading the world. Speaking of choosing a car, many people prefer foreign brands, feeling superior performance. Sitting is comfortable. But Japan has an unavoidable flaw. The land area is too small. Only 370,000 square kilometers. You may have no idea about this area. Roughly speaking, it's about the size of Yunnan province. This means that The resources available to Japan are extremely limited. Plus, they are in a special place. Earthquakes and tsunamis happen, so they have a lot of the necessary resources. Have to import everywhere, like steel, copper sticks, these raw materials. Most of it had to come from China or Africa. Japan discovered a rare stock in the African Congo. The amount of resources is about 3 million tons. The global reserves are 7 million tons. The right stock is stable and leveraged. Melting point up to 1,495 degrees. Stable at high temperatures. Many people may not be familiar with stocks. It's a chemical element. The whole is silvery white, light pink and metallic sheen. This stuff is hard and brittle. Heat to 1,150 degrees Celsius. Its female is gone. There is no substitute for this ruthless character. To put it bluntly, in our real life, this resource is very versatile. The mobile phone in our hands. Computers can't do without it. So, stock resources are of great significance to a developed country. Who has the resources? Well, what anyone can say in the tech world is that recently, this precious millet garden was discovered, and the West was ecstatic. Everyone wants to grab this piece of fat. Grab mining rights. If they do get it, the result is unimaginable. Electronic equipment market price. Market order is in chaos. Related industries in other countries may directly collapse. You can tell from this. The consequences are scary. Therefore, Japan, the United States, and other countries start to get close to Africa, even at a high price, just to touch that treasure. At the same time, China is not willing to lag behind. Send a team of experts to negotiate. Strive for cooperation. Unexpectedly, Congo is unequivocal, and they just shove the rights into our hands. Why did you agree to us so readily? In one sentence, that good people have a good home. You see, China and Africa have always had a good relationship. Africa has a complex environment. The pace of development is slow. At this time, we reached out to help them with infrastructure. I don't want anything in return. They are grateful to us. I hope to take this opportunity. Continue to maintain that brotherly relationship with us. And the result is that Congo has given us 56% of the rights. It only cost $3 billion. This business has to be said. It's a win-win situation. After countries heard the news, it was like being struck by lightning. Shocked. Especially in Japan. I thought the surprise was a nail on the board. Nail thing. Who would have thought that the final big winner would be Jai? Japan had a hard time accepting this reality for a while. Even threw 30 billion ocean to buy back the rights. But it was all for nothing. Japanese airway jumping. Schwanchang. In the future, when doing R&D and production, you don't need the heat-resistant alloy in the drum in the battery. Drum, this baby is too rare and special. No substitute can be found. Japan is under the weight of industry. We have no choice but to extend a buying hand to China. Now we can say with confidence, we are in control of the stock resources. The pricing of the market is also in our hands. Was the West's first to win space engine technology. Now we're flying off this grain line. Technological development takes it to the next level. Our scientists keep working hard. The field of aero engines. We also achieved gratifying results. China's high-tech development in the future. It will definitely surprise the world.